Hello, I'm E.G. Marshall. In movies and in life, I've championed the cause of justice for all. But no one has made that promise a reality more than the Legal Aid Society. As the nation's oldest and largest legal aid agency, it has not only helped millions of people since 1876, but has also served as a model for the nation's legal aid and defender movements, America's two most important efforts for advancing equal justice. A plaque marks the site of the first legal aid office at number 39 Nassau Street. Quite a contrast from the Society's beginnings back in 1876. It was called Der Deutsche Rechtsschutzverein, the German Legal Aid Society, created by 12 members of the German Society, 8 lawyers, 1 importer, and 3 merchants, to help poor German immigrants being preyed upon by unscrupulous bosses and landlords. It wasn't until 20 years later that the name was officially changed to the Legal Aid Society to reflect its broader mandate to render legal aid in the city of New York to persons who are without adequate means to employ other counsel. 1890 marked a turning point in the history of the Legal Aid Society. Arthur von Briesen became president, a position he was to hold for the next 26 years. Arriving from Germany, a penniless boy of 17, he had survived on $1 a week and saved enough to go to law school, vowing to one day help the poor and unfortunate whose problems he knew so well. Among the 4,000 cases handled that year, the return of a child wrongfully taken from its mother, the defense of an innocent man accused of a crime, and the retrieval of wages owed poor working men and women. And as New York grew, so did the Society's activities. Under von Briesen's stewardship, the Society expanded to meet the ever-changing needs of the growing population. In 1899, it opened the first of 3 branches: the Seamen's Branch for the protection of sailors, the East Side Branch to serve immigrants huddled in the old 10th Ward of the city, and the West Side Branch to represent servants with wage and dismissal claims. By the time the Harlem and Brooklyn branches opened in 1905 and 1907, the Society had handled over 250,000 cases and recovered $1.25 million for its clients. The Brooklyn branch actually represented the birth of pro bono in this country. 3 lawyers volunteered their services, handling the hundreds of cases under the supervision of a director of the Legal Aid Society. Perhaps the most important new branch was the one begun modestly in 1910 with 1 attorney in the Essex Market Police Court to handle criminal cases.
So that the rights of poor, helpless defendants may be fully secured, and the idea encouraged that there is but one law for rich and poor alike.
That first year, the lawyer handled scores of cases, from assault to homicide. The treatment of prisoners was yet another concern, ultimately spawning the Society's Prisoners' Rights Project, a leading advocate today of constitutional and humane conditions of confinement. In 1911, the first convention of legal aid societies in America was held in Pittsburgh. Modeled after the one in New York, legal aid societies had been created across the country, from Boston and Philadelphia to Chicago and San Francisco. Arthur von Briesen, the legal aid movement's greatest advocate, spoke at the convention on cruelty to man. Is it to cease? During the war years, a voluntary defenders committee was organized to represent felony cases. Because the effort was underwritten by John D. Rockefeller, Jr., the attorneys became known as the Rockefeller Lawyers. By 1939, the committee had merged with the Society to become the Criminal Courts Branch of the Legal Aid Society. 10 years later, and again with Rockefeller's help, the branch opened an office in the U.S. courthouse to provide representation for the poor in the district court and the Court of Appeals. Criminal Defense Division lawyers today handle more than 200,000 cases a year. The 1960s were also a period of great expansion. After the landmark Gideon versus Wainwright decision, the Society was designated the primary defender in New York City to represent indigents in state and federal courts. Since then, the Criminal Appeals Bureau has argued 35 cases before the U.S. Supreme Court, winning 20 of them. In 1962, the Juvenile Rights Division was established, 5 years before the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that children have a constitutional right to counsel at government expense. Today, the society represents 90% of all children who appear before family court. Funding through the Office of Economic Opportunity in the mid-1960s allowed the society to expand its civil services to Queens, Staten Island, and the Bronx. And although the society has maintained a national leadership role in civil litigation for the poor for over a century, it is the society's full range of services that makes it unique. As New York Governor Mario Cuomo said when he was presented with the society's Servant of Justice Award,
"The Legal Aid Society represents the best our profession has to offer, the very best in intelligence and rigor, and above all, a commitment to use whatever skills one has to serve a cause larger than oneself, a commitment enacted willingly and often at great personal cost, a commitment to make justice flourish here in the occasionally rugged streets of this great city and state."
And so we salute the Legal Aid Society of New York for over 100 years of working to make good on our country's promise of justice for all, the foundation of our democracy, and for inspiring generations of lawyers across the country in service of that noble goal.